Hello, my delightful Demon Spawn, and welcome back to another Reaper Ranks episode. Yeah, last time we did the Credit Quest series. This time we're gonna take, we're still gonna ride the train of, my own shows. But this time, one that will have a little bit more of an interesting discussion. That being Marathon of Misery. The entire list of the old channel episodes, the freaking episode 0, season 1 and season 2 on this channel. So, in total we have 56 videos / streams to look at. So, yeah. Ain't that going to be interesting? So, let's get started with the episode 1 of the episode 1s, that being VR Stalker. VR Stalker, I think we can start off by putting this comfortably in C tier. I think as an episode 1, as a first step to making the series, I don't know why I chose it as the first game to do for the show, but oh well. Yeah, VR Stalker is a flight sim-ish game, and the main problem with it is that it was very, very dull and boring. And with me really having no idea what I was doing with it, just kind of doing everything on the fly. I'm an idiot. Yeah. I think I can give VR Stalker a comfortable C tier. With it being the first try. So yeah, it was not horrible, admittedly. Me not being able to do flips, me getting mad at anti-aircraft guns and stupid shit. If there was an episode to remake, I think I don't think I would run to redo VR Stalker. But I mean, if I had to remake some of these episodes, that would certainly be one of them. So yeah. Next up is Keith Courage for the TurboGrafx 16. This one I actually don't feel as strongly about. I'm gonna put it in the B. Yeah. For two main reasons. Number one, I think the sound mixing was kind of fucked with that episode, and number two, it was mostly just me getting annoyed the whole time, and not even in a funny way where it's like, my anger had comedy with it. It was just me being annoyed at the game being the game. I've thought about revisiting it because, it was the launch title for the TurboGrafx 16, so it's like, you would think it would be decent, or at least kind of dull. No, it's not. Some people like the game. I don't. And, I don't really like the episode that much either. It's not a complete fail. I don't think about it and go, oh god, why did I make this? But it's certainly not good. So yeah. Speaking of episodes that I believe have aged very poorly, yeah, this episode was purely made because I have a personal vendetta against the game. There's gonna be a couple games on here that you might be like, I actually kind of like this. Yeah, it's just because I personally didn't like the game very much. So yeah. Billy Hatcher. Yeah, I did not like the game as a kid, but that doesn't give me the right to trample upon a game that people would enjoy. People do like this game, so you know what? You can have it. You can have your egg game. Wasn't a good episode anyway. It was mostly just me being like, I don't like this, and I can't. That's not very enjoyable. Is having someone sitting there and being like, I don't enjoy It's like, yeah, then why are you playing it? So yeah. Next episode is Bakugan Battle Brawlers. I think there's 2 standout episodes of the old channel series. And this is one of them. This was the first episode I did with a guest, that being April Aberdeen. And fun fact, we weren't even gonna do this game initially. We were gonna do Kung Fu Panda, but the emulator I was using didn't work with Kung Fu Panda. I think now that I've changed emulators, I think I could actually play Kung Fu Panda on the DS, because that's another game I have a personal grudge against. But I already made the list for Season 3, so just don't, maybe Season 4, or if you guys petition it hard enough, I'll swap a game, but I'll probably not do that, because I remember doing that for Season 2 and being royally fucked upon doing so. So yeah, I think Bakugan Battle Brawlers is one of the 2 standout episodes of the season. I'm actually going to put it in A tier. Me and April bounced off of each other pretty well. I'm surprised we didn't really do any more projects after that. But, me and him just we were just losing ourselves in the absurdity of the Bakugan world. And, the version of the game being just the weird crustiness that it is. And us making jokes about it, and, the weird avatar we made, and the different kinds of ball, and the different kinds of making jokes at the different types of Bakugan, the rules and all that. So yeah, that episode I've gone back to and watched fondly. That was a pretty good one. One that I also I don't think is as good, but is certainly not bad, is Cyber Tiger. That is in fact a weird blown up head of Tiger Woods. And the reason I became aware of Cyber Tiger was because I read that name and thought, wow, that must be a really, really, really cool game for the Game Boy Color. So I picked it up, and then I talked about, and then I saw that it had bad reviews, so I was like, oh, okay, well maybe it's gonna be like this game that tried to do something cool and then failed miserably at it, so like a sort of wasted potential kind of game. And then upon doing more research, and I think Justin either I don't know if he had a copy of it or just played it emulation or something. He found the N64 and or PlayStation version of the game, and then we found out it was a golf game, and I was like, fuck, because I had already had a golf game planned, but then for whatever reason this also ended up being a golf game. But the episode is not bad. I'm actually gonna throw it in B tier. There are moments in there where I'm just in disbelief at the sheer absurdity of it. For a game called Cyber Tiger, it's not like you would expect it. Okay, it's a golf game. Maybe it's like a fantastical golf game that just so happens to have Tiger Woods in it. No, for the most part, they kind of play it straight up until the weird patches of fairway and shit where they you land the ball there and then it just blasts your ball a second time. And it's like, what? But yeah, I at least gave a good effort to try to make some kind of comedy out of it, especially because I wasn't very good. So that also lent it. I was bad at it, but not to a point where it detracted from the overall viewing experience. I can't necessarily say the same thing about 36 Great Holes, starring Fred Couples, for the Sega 32X. So far, I believe the only 32X game I've done for Marathon of Misery. I mean, there's not a lot of 32X games, admittedly. This episode, I'm gonna rate a little bit lower than Cyber Tiger. I think of the two golf games, I think Cyber Tiger was a better episode, but 36 Great Holes is average. It's perfectly average. So yeah. Predator! Episode 7. Fun fact, even though VR Stalker was technically episode 1, this one I actually filmed first. This was the episode I filmed first. And I think there's even a disclaimer. Like I recorded this a while ahead of time, just to make use of the guest I had for them, which that guest is no longer on the internet, so I'm not even gonna bother trying to name him or anything, just because, you know, clearly they were fine with not having an internet presence, so it's like, fine, I'm not gonna bother them about it. I think I'm also gonna put Predator for the NES in C tier. I think it's the shortest Misery episode to date. I did a lot of cutting to it, and it's very much like this was my first attempt doing this. Like, at least with VR Stalker, there's some elements of like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing, but with Predator, you know, I was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants with it. And, like, the guests, you can barely hear them, and, like, you know, a lot of the times we had good chemistry, but for whatever reason, that video was just like, we were both, like, off our game, kind of. So, yeah, Predator, not a bad, you know what, actually, nah, I'm sorry, I gotta knock it down to D. I think it's comparable to Keith Courage. I think it's comparable there. I think I probably could remake Predator, especially because there's actually versions of Predator that are worse than the NES game. So I think I wouldn't necessarily remake Predator, but I would play a different game based on Predator that's worse. Not Hunting Ground. Hunting Ground's bad, but I think that game was already like offline, so it's like I couldn't want to. But other versions of Predator from like back then. Anyways, Mad Dog McCree. Mad Dog McCree is the other standout episode. To the point. Yeah, if you're gonna watch any of the old channel Misery episodes, I would watch Mad Dog McCree. You know, I filmed that one later, so I knew what I was doing. It featured Justin from We Flash People, which him and I have had pretty good chemistry in a lot of our projects. Initially, we were going to, like, if the old channel were to have continued, we were going to go through the Mad Dog season. In fact, I think, yeah, Mad Dog 2 was one of the lost episodes. There's 3 lost episodes of Marathon of Misery that, you know, will never see the light of day, which were Hercules for Commodore 64, a game that's going to show up later on this list, and Mad Dog 2, The Lost Gold. Because my Dolphin, like, in the Mad Dog McCree episode, I was actually using a Wiimote. I was playing the Wii port. Because technically Mad Dog McCree is an arcade game, but I also wasn't playing anything on the Wii, so I tagged it as the Wii, even though it was the arcade. It doesn't matter. I was using the Wii remote to play Mad Dog McCree, but then when we were recording Mad Dog 2, inexplicably, my Wii remote just stopped connecting to my PC, and I was like, welp! And then, yeah, from that moment on, I was never able to get a Wii remote to connect to my PC. So, I tried playing, like, the 3DO or some other version of Mad Dog 2, and it wasn't even, like, it was nowhere near the level I wanted it to be at. So I was just like, forget it, and just canned it. And that was the last episode of Misery that I would film for a while until going to the new channel stuff. So yeah, Mad Dog McCree though, good watch. Highlights being, you know, us going into our southern voices, me getting frustrated at, you know, certain shooting segments, me needing to slow the game down just to even make progress in it. I did actually beat the game. I mean, I might have tapped out for the golf game. I don't know if I finished any of the golf games in the amount of time that the video was up. But I did get to the end of Mad Dog McCree through some very underhanded tactics. But, you know, it's Mad Dog McCree. The game itself throws underhanded tactics at you, so... who cares? Anyways. Yeah, Mad Dog McCree. What a time. Anyway, Blues Brothers 2000. I'm gonna give this, what's gonna give it the B? Another game that I sort of had a personal grudge with, because I was getting Nintendo 64 games, to emulate, and then just saw it, and I was like, really? Really? They made a game based on this movie in particular. This one. What the fuck? And it was either developed or published by Titus, the same people that made Superman 64. So that's good. And yeah, it's effectively if the Blues Brothers were in a shitty knockoff version of Banjo-Kazooie, and there's some like rhythm game parts to it. I mean, I know I did say I would remake one of these two. Maybe Blues Brothers 2000. Maybe, because I have better means of doing N64 games. Thanks to having an EverDrive and possibly, you know, trying to find a physical copy of it. I mean, a physical copy of this game can't be worth that much. Right? Right? But, yeah, Blues Brothers 2000, is a weird-ass game, and it's not good. And, it doesn't really have a reason to exist. Anyway, the last of the old channel episodes is AX 101 for the Sega CD. Yeah. I'm not into it, to be honest. It was like this weird FMV shooter game. It kind of has elements of like Starblade by Namco, like that game. The main problem with it is that it's boring. For the most part, it's boring until it has cheap game design, and then it sends you back, and then you get back to the boring parts. So it's either really boring or really annoying. And that episode was originally intended to have a guest, and then that guest also dropped off the face of the internet, and I never got around to filming it with them, so I had to do it by myself. And for a season finale, because all of these videos were as part of one season, it really did not hit. It really didn't. I think it's a better episode than Billy Hatcher, but, you know, I'm not, you know, ranking the episodes within the tiers. You know, I'm not that thorough. AX 101 just wasn't it, man. Yeah, it was not the way to end this season. So, yeah. Anyways, you might be saying, okay, next is gonna be Plumbers Over Times, right? No. This is episode 0, Blade Force for the 3DO. I'm gonna put this in D tier. This was the last time that Marathon of Misery would be a pre-recorded series, and, ow! I just kicked my PC tower like an idiot. Yeah, Blade Force, is just this weird flying game where, like, you're this guy with either a jetpack or, like, a helicopter blade, like, glued to them. And, like, you go around, like, shooting, like, boxes and stuff and, like, trying to, like, stop crime or whatever. Like, effectively RoboCop if you just never landed on the ground, if he just flew everywhere instead of being on the ground. Yeah, the episode was pretty dull, but it didn't help that the game itself was also really, really dull. You know, the premise is kind of okay. You know, it like the opening cutscenes and stuff were kind of funny, but then once you get to the actual gameplay, it's super fucking dull and boring. So, yeah. Anyhow, plumbers don't wear ties. This is also the 3DO game, and I've done a lot of 3DO games for this show. Yeah, the 3DO is kind of an easy target. Yeah, plumbers don't wear ties. This one is a very infamous game. And, you know, we did this before the Definitive Edition came out. So I couldn't play this on modern hardware. I emulated this sumbitch. And, I'm putting Plumbers Don't Wear Ties in C tier only because it featured Justin again. And him and I were able to at least make a somewhat cohesive stream. This was the first streamed episode. This is when I transitioned over to be like, you know what, I should do these as live streams. Because I was kind of riffing on another guy's show where he did it pre-recorded, and then me being a parasitic life form, I just kind of I copied it, also kind of pussing out. Even though the name itself, even though the name of the show was something I said, was something that I wrote down. It was a title for an old Reaper Plays video, and then I just made it the title of a show. But the show itself was kind of riffing on another guy. Until Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, you know, because I don't recall people willingly streaming bad games before, unless, you know, I'm wrong. I probably am wrong, but yeah. There was also Worst Games Ever by Triple Jump. I didn't know about them until after the fact, so I could have made these videos shorter. All of these videos, I could have made them shorter if I wanted to, but that wasn't the show I watched first. So, yeah, Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. It's just a bunch of technical issues with some comedy in there. And I'm gonna hopefully try to upload this by Pride Month. And we ended the game not with the actual ending. We didn't actually beat Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. To be honest, we should have gotten the Nun ending, because I had never seen it before, and I can only assume that Justin had never seen the Nun ending. But, you know, now that there is a modern re-release of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, that might be another one we have to revisit. Because there is a much more playable version. Although there is a different game that kind of falls under the FMV game space that would be a little bit more intriguing to play, and it's a different game entirely. It's not playing Plumbers Don't Wear Ties again. So, yeah. Anyways, Dora the Explorer, Journey to the Purple Planet, for the Nintendo GameCube. This is a game I do have a personal vendetta against. Not the GameCube version, I played it on PS2 initially. But, yeah, this is a game that, as a kid, I played this. I said, this game's ass. This game is a pile of horse's ass. And then I never played it again. And then that copy either got given away or sold or whatever. Yeah. Dora the Explorer, somehow, some way, that's an A tier to me. Somehow not only did I beat the game, but throughout a good portion of the game, I would say up until, like, the blue and red planets, like, the stream, like, I was pretty entertaining throughout it. I was able to make comedy out of most of everything up until, and also stream chat, did help. But, you know, once I got towards, like, the latter half of the game, it's just like, oh, make it end. And that's kind of the point of Marathon of Misery, where I'm like, it's not really great. Because there's nothing funny about someone going, oh, when does this end? You know, at least to me, it isn't funny. But, yeah. But for the most part, Dora was like the first like solid episode on this channel. Alright. Theme Hospital. Speaking of me being a parasitic life form, I saw We Flash people play this, and I was like, I gotta play it too! Because I thought their stream of it was really, really funny. And then it wound up being a D tier. It wound up being not very good, only because I didn't really add anything other than I was playing the PS1 version instead of the PC version, and I had some of my own brand of awkwardness. I think I beat the first hospital. I don't know. Like, most of the stream is just me attempting to run hospital. It was not like there's some people who enjoy posting sim games, but a lot of it's kind of like that frenetic, like you relax to it kind of thing. I'm trying to make it into comedy, and sim games don't really give you a lot of that. In terms of like, unless you're trying to play the game deliberately wrong, which if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna play a game that I at least enjoy breaking, like one of the Papa's games, or like a Roller Coaster Tycoon or something. Theme Hospital is not fun to play wrong, because it's just the game scolding you, and, you know, eventually you get a screen that's like, you got people killed. It's like, alright. Not very eventful. So, yeah. Anyway, Ninja Breadman for the Wii. I know it was also on PS2, but I played the Wii version because, you know, the funky controls. Except I didn't use the funky controls. I used a regular controller. I was better off playing just the PS2 version, but I already had a PS2 game in the catalog. But I still wanted to play Ninja Breadman, so I used the Wii version to sort of circumvent that rule. I'm still doing the one game per console rule, but with Season 3, I'm managing it a lot better than I did in Season 2. Okay, we're still in Season 1 territory where it's like, I was a little bit responsible with it, but in Season 2 is when it went completely off the rails. But Season 3, the Season 3 game list, I'm pretty confident. Anyway, Ninja Breadman's not a bad stream. I wouldn't say it's as good as Dora, but I think it is definitely better than Plumbers Don't Wear Ties or Theme Hospital. You know, it's a game that I had known about for years and years and years. A game that I was able to beat it on stream to show everything. It's a very short game. And then I even included the little anecdote at the end, where it's like you have all the different reskins, you know, Anubis II, and Mythmakers, Trixie and Toyland, and Rock and Roll Adventures, and even like a couple years ago discovering there's a 5th reskin. Yeah, there's another one. It's called Casper and the Ghostly Trio, and yes, it is based on Casper the Friendly Fucking Ghost. Somehow DDI got the rights to do that, even though initially Ninja Breadman was going to be a continuation of Zool. Yeah, it weird. Anyway, yeah, Ninja Breadman, I certainly got something out of it. And, I haven't been able to look at Gingerbread Men the same way again. Anyway, Irritating Stick! I always have to say the title of this game in a very weird manner. Yeah, this episode, I think I'm also gonna rank B tier. It's definitely not bad. Me getting annoyed with how the game works. It's, you know, the wire maze, and you put the stick in between the wire maze, and you try to guide it around, except it's just you using the joystick on a PS1, even though I'm not sure if that game had analog stick support. I don't know, I think I mapped the D-pad to the analog stick, if that's the case. Anyway, yeah, me getting annoyed with the game design, you know, playing through different modes of it, trying to beat different levels. The chat just being mystified at the game where you just ran a stick through wires. And then, that's actually the stream where I came out. Yeah, speaking of Pride Month, yeah, that's That's when I came out over, what, 6 years ago? Yeah. Irritating stick for me being in a relationship with my lovely, amazing boyfriend, which will not be the last time I mention my lovely, amazing boyfriend. So, yeah. Let's go to Hook. Hook, I think, is a perfect C tier. I think Hook definitely is a step back from these ones, but you know, it's perfectly average for what it is. You know, it's just me being me kind of going through the motions with it. Hook is just, you know, it's an ocean game. I already don't really like that many, like, OceanSoft they didn't make very many good games, if any, but also their games are also not bad enough to warrant really being that mad at them. So it's just like, alright, cool, Hook. I don't know why I played it, especially because on the NES there's a much worse Peter Pan game on there. But we're gonna take as long as we can to avoid talking about that one, okay? Because that one is considerably worse. Anyways, speaking of games that are worse than Hook, Fantasia for the Sega Genesis. As a stream experience, yeah, this was an A-tier stream. Fantasia for the Sega Genesis is if you've never played it before, it's a really good game to play on stream for the first time, or even as a video. Fantasia is a progenitor of rage games. Like, no joke, it has like Kaizo Mario-isms. The game is brutally difficult. One of the most brutally difficult platformers I've ever played for the Genesis. It's insane how fucking brutal Fantasia is. And the only reason I knew about it was because by that time I was in college, and I had actually watched the movie in a theater environment and really liked the movie. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna look at Fantasia things, blah, blah, blah. And then I see Fantasia Sega Genesis. And I'm like, what? I might have even looked up a list of like bad Genesis games. And I saw it in there and I'm like, really? Well, I saw it and I was like, but I saw the movie. Like, I can bust this movie's balls really hard for getting things in the movie wrong. And admittedly, as you go through the game, it gets, like, the actual levels themselves are closer to stuff from the actual movie. But the overall plot is that the orchestra loses the notes to the music they have to play, so Mickey has to go around grabbing the notes for the songs. Like, I thought Mickey was just a visual representation for the song he was in, that being Sorcerer's Apprentice. Why the fuck is he interacting? I mean, there is that one moment in the movie where I think Mickey does interact with, like, the conductor or something, but it's, like, very, very brief, because they probably didn't want to blow their budget on having live-action characters and animated characters at the same time. You know, they weren't ready to do, like, a Song of the South yet. So, yeah, Mickey really had no business messing with the orchestra. But yeah, if you've never played Fantasia, really, really annoying game, but really funny to watch people play for the first time, and that's what chat, and seeing, like, chat's reaction to the game for the first time. Like, this is a weird anomaly, where it's like, the game is brutal, so brutally hard, and so badly programmed, and so badly designed, that it's just this perfect storm of everything going wrong all at once. And yeah, if anyone does stream a Fantasia on the Genesis, please link it to me so I can watch it and laugh, because I need it after the torment of that game put me through. Yeah. Anyways, that same night, I'm never doing something like that again. I'm not doing multiple streams in one day. Fuck that. I did Michael Jackson's Moonwalker for the Sega Master System. I'm almost tempted to put it in C tier. I'm putting it in B because of the final boss fight. That final boss is still one of the worst final boss fights I've ever gone through in any video game. In any video game. I will tell you, I really did not like the fight against Black Doom in Shadow Generations. You know, I really didn't like the final boss in Psychonauts. You know, I don't even remember what the final boss in SpongeBob and the Cosmic Shake was. It was a fucking joke. Complete and total joke of a boss fight. That's how nothing it was to me. But this thing, this final boss fight, all it is these 4 cannons that shoot at you one at a time. And you're Michael Jackson after he turns into the spaceship. Because, you know, Moonwalker is a very logical movie. You know, a very sound, logical movie about Michael Jackson. Anyway, he turns into a spaceship, and you fly back and forth. You can't go up. You can only go back and forth like Space Invaders. And it's just these 4 cannons that are shooting you. But the bullets either fly at these crazy weird angles or just directly home in on you. So unless you're moving very precisely in a way that can weave past the bullets, you'll just get shot over and over and over and over and over again. And the window you have to shoot the cannons is very, very tight. And it's random which cannon shoots you. Up until, like, you kill, like, 3 of them, and then it's just the same cannon that has to keep shooting you over and over. And all the while, there's just a little cutout in the corner of John Belushi's character. Or is it Joe Pesci? I forget which. Whoever played Mr. Big in Moonwalker. I forget who. It's just him laughing maniacally in the corner. The whole time. While you just get blasted with these cannon shots over and over and over again. It is one of the most viscerally frustrating experiences I've ever had. To the point that the final boss got a separate rating from the actual game. I guess my extension level beforehand, where you're Mecha Jackson shooting a bunch of goons. The actual game of Moonwalker is fine for what it is, apart from the fucking first level where you have to open windows to find some of the kids. I couldn't figure it out for like 20 minutes. But other than that, the rest of the game was pretty easy to figure out. Up until, and then the last level is just a brutal exercise. Just a brutal disaster. So yeah, that's why I give it B tier. Anyway, the Wacky World of Miniature Golf for the Philips CDI. I've rewatched this entire stream before. This is another one of those games. Wacky World of Miniature Golf and Fantasia are 2 perfect examples of games where if you play them, it's best to go in cold. No background information. Yeah. Wacky World of Miniature Golf is possibly the most ball-busting golf experience I've ever had in my life. I did beat all the holes in it, admittedly. I did better than Cyber Tiger or 36 Great Holes, where, you know, I don't think I finished a game of those. I might have finished Cyber Tiger. I think I might have finished Cyber Tiger. I don't know about 36 Great Holes, though. I don't know if I can. Wacky World of Miniature Golf, I do remember distinctly finishing every hole in the game, and just wanting to break everything after it was done. Just the game's trolly nature, you know, its weird lack of gameplay, because it's not like a normal golf game where, you know, you stand somewhere, hit the ball and it moves and you have to walk to the ball. No, it's effectively, it's not really an FMV game. It's like, it's almost like point and click, almost. Like, it's like if a point and click game was about timing, rather than, like, looking for stuff, you know? So you have to, like, hit the ball at, like, the perfect time to get openings for it to go past the traps, and if the ball gets destroyed, you go all the way back to the beginning of the fucking hole. And the whole time you have characters pestering you, especially Eugene Levy, who won't shut the fuck up, and just, it's the perfect game to just piss you the fuck off. It was a perfect storm of a game. Yeah, was not good. Was not a good game, but man, did it make for some good entertainment. Yeah, second S tier. Unbelievable, I know. Alright, Zathura for the PS2. Yeah, I was gonna be harsh to it with D tier, but I'm actually gonna put it in C. I think it's a little bit better. It's a little bit better than that. Yeah, just a bog standard generic 3D platformer on the PS2. You know, I played it for a little bit. I watched the movie as a kid, and that's why I immediately got the game in my head. And then later down the line, I saw that Triple Jump did a Worst Games Ever episode on it, so... Yeah, I think I was a little bit validated when I saw them upload that, and I was like, I roasted that guy! I gave that game a roasting. I know what's up. But yeah. Zathura, pretty bog standard episode. Alright. Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric. Yeah, I think it's like this close to missing out on S tier. This close. Sonic Boom was not a playthrough of Sonic Boom. It was me deconstructing the game. Just tearing the game apart. Very much literally. Like, glitching the game to oblivion. Throughout the whole stream. It was, yeah, I made sure to play launch Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom got patched to where a lot of, like, the big glitches, you can't do them anymore. No. I played the launch version of Sonic Boom because I did Wii U. Like, I did mods on my Wii U. You know, I think I still have some of those Wii U mods. And thus, I cut off my Wii U's ability to auto-update. Or, like, that or just automatically connect to the internet, because, you know, if you connected to the internet, then the mods wouldn't work and all that stuff. So, my copy of Sonic Boom couldn't update. It just could. I played version 1 Sonic Boom, which also annoyingly means I was gonna do Mighty Number 9 as an episode, and I have a copy of Mighty Number 9 for the Wii U. I can't do it. I cannot do Mighty Number 9 because if I pop that copy of Mighty Number 9 into my Wii U, it'll brick my Wii U due to a glitch. So, yeah, I bought that game for no reason. I have the art book. Good for me! So yeah, if you know any better means of me being able to play Mighty Number 9, send them my way, but because, you know, I actually do have a copy of it, so I could just emulate it and not feel bad. But, you know, is it worth the headache? Probably not. But yeah, Sonic Boom was a fun time. Just me glitching the game to oblivion and having a good time with Street Chat. Anyway, next up, Jackass the Game for the PlayStation Portable. Yeah, also again, I'm aware there was a PS2 version of this game, but, you know, console. Yeah, this, if you ever want to talk about weird minigame collections, Jackass is certainly one of them. It's very much in line with the TV show and the movies. Up until you start doing things like playing with Zorb balls on rooftops or just jumping off skyscrapers and shit, into shit, literal excrement, and they're like, oh, this would kill them in real life. Now, you playing pachinko on a mountain, on like a cliffside, trying to knock the guy into like cacti and rocks and shit. It's like, this would kill somebody in real life. The show is not, the show's called Jackass, not attempted self, like not just attempted self-deletion. That's not what the show is. So that's why the game was pretty whack. But I have to give it a B tier, because throughout most of the game we had some pretty entertaining, commentary between me and the stream chat about the mini games, and the one bonus game, the one mini game where Steve-O has his fingers out and they do the knife game, and just intentionally stabbing Steve-O over and over and over again, hearing him go, ah! 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 All this whoops of pain. Every time you stab him, and I'm pretty sure that actually was Steve-O doing the voice. Like, I'm pretty sure him and like Knoxville and some of the other like main members of the Jackass crew actually lent their voice for the games. I think that actually was Steve-O. Oh god. That part never ceases to make me lose my shit. It's just a game. Like, the goal for me wasn't to get, wasn't to like stab between the fingers and get points. It was just, how many times can I stab Steve-O in a row to hear those sound effects? Oh god. Alright, next game, Earthworm Jim 3D. I'm smacking this dab into C tier. I think I played the N64 version? Yeah, I would have to play the N64 version because I already played Irritating Stick. Yeah. Earthworm Jim 3D, another just generic 3D platformer. It killed Earthworm Jim as a franchise, and really I should have saved it for the next season, where I did bad games from well-known franchises, but oh well. Oh well, I'm not mad. I'm not bitter about it or anything, why would I be mad about it? But yeah, I think Earthworm Jim 3D is a very bog standard episode. So. Bubsy on the Super Nintendo. So this is a game I had a personal grudge against. I think it's also a C tier. To be brutally honest. It definitely dredged up childhood memories of trying to play the game when I first discovered SNES emulation. I was like, oh, I can play the Bubsy games now. Are they as bad as people say? Apparently Bubsy 2 is not that bad. From the stories I've heard, Bubsy 2 is actually a serviceable video game, which means, yeah, I'm just gonna skip Bubsy 2, because we're not here for that. I think Bubsy 1 encapsulates everything wrong with the 2D Bubsy games, at least the old ones, up until they fucking brought Bubsy back to the PS4 and shit, for no reason. Why would they do it? Other than just hating humanity. But yeah, Bubsy, pretty bog standard. Like Bubsy 3D and Earthworm Jim 3D, pretty bog standard. Virtual Hide-a-Lide. I'm gonna put this in B tier because I was getting into a pretty good groove, with that stream. Until my internet died. And you know what I realized? Those two episodes are actually backwards. Virtual Hide-a-Lide is before Bubsy. Oops! Nobody's perfect, but then again, I wasn't really going to be very particular about it. You know, I tried to order all these as close as possible. I might have made a mistake here. Oh well. I'm not missing any episodes, at least. You know, I made sure to do that. But yeah, Virtual Highlight was a pretty interesting romp, especially with stream chat there, showing the oddities of it, and, you know, how jank the game is. And then the stream died. It just died, like an hour in, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just moving on to the next episode. I don't care. I just abandoned Virtual Highlight. But it was my first Sega Saturn game, as I was starting to figure out how to actually do a Sega Saturn emulation. So, yeah. Will there be more Saturn games? I think there already is one later on the list, but, can't quite recall what it was. Never mind, I just remember the game right now, so we will talk about the Saturn later. Anyways, Gremlins 2. Yeah, I'll give Gremlins 2 for the Game Boy an A. It's very similar to Fantasia in the fact that the game pissed me the fuck off, but the stream chat was entertaining enough to where I was able to just keep banging my head against the wall with it. And I did technically beat Gremlins 2 through save states, but, you know, you try playing Gremlins 2 legitimately. It has infinite continues. You know, you play Gremlins 2 on the Game Boy, and you tell me how far you get. There's only 4 levels in Gremlins 2. There's only 4 levels. But I don't think you're beating it anytime soon. I'm just gonna tell you right now. But yeah, that level of anger certainly at least made it entertaining to watch me lose my mind. Speaking of losing my mind, Airwolf for the Amstrad CPC. So far, one of the bottom, I still think it's the bottom game that I've ever played for Marathon of Misery. If there's a game, if you ask me on the spot, what's the worst game you played for the show, I'm gonna say Airwolf. It's a game that does everything wrong. Everything. Everything wrong. And I couldn't believe that there was a game on a computer so horrendously dreadful that it basically tried everything in its power to make sure you never beat it. I don't know why they made the game as ball-bustingly brutal as it was, and the controls just horrible of you trying to flip the helicopter around, and you have to, in order to fly up, you have to mash the up arrow key over and over again. And, you have to mash the directionals in order to slowly, gradually turn the helicopter around. And by the time you've done that, you've crashed into something and killed yourself. But despite everything, I did manage to get to the end of Airwolf. Except for the fact that the game is so goddamn difficult that the programmers never thought you would get that far. So they literally... the game just crashes as soon as you beat it. As soon as you shoot the final target, the game just stops. Right there. There's no end screen. It's insane. And people would have had to spend... They would have had to spend money on Airwolf if they didn't get a copy from a friend or something. From a copy party. But then again, who would be copying Airwolf of all games? Why wouldn't you copy any of the other popular computer games? It's just an anomaly. And I beat it through save states. And even the save states, the emulator that had a whack-ass save state function, So even using the save states was difficult. In any case, I did manage to beat the game, and we saw all that there was to see, and yeah. I think it was the first, like, I gave Plumbers Don't Wear Ties a 10 out of 10 just because people would call me insane if I didn't give it a 10 out of 10. Even though, in all honesty, like, with my modern perspective, I can't give Plumbers Don't Wear Ties a 10 out of 10. Like, that's kind of the reason why I want to remake it, so that I can give it a different rating, because in all honesty, it doesn't deserve a 10 out of 10. Airwolf is the first genuine example of a 10 out of 10 misery. Just everything about it is wrong, and not in a way that's enjoyable. So, yeah. Anyway, that was also the Season 1 finale, and what a shift between AX101 and Airwolf. Airwolf was a great ender for Season 1. Then I moved out of my old house, and I came here. And then that's when we started Season 2, with Life of Black Tiger for the PlayStation 4. I think the first PS4 game I ever played on one of my channels. Life of Black Tiger gets an A tier. Life of Black Tiger. If you've never played Life of Black Tiger or never heard of it, it's another one of those games where it's like, if you've never heard about it, you need to record your first reaction to it. Even if you don't play the game, even if you just watch the game. Life of Black Tiger is one of those things where it's just like, they sold this for $10? I think I spent $10 on Life of Black Tiger. I had no choice but to buy it. And, yeah. It's not a good game, but it's one of those games where it would be a so bad it's good game if there was more things to do in the game. Like, all the game is that you slowly claw animals and humans to death. And, you know, the Black Tiger has just random motivations for doing things. It's like this edgelord tiger that just exists, and then he comes across a regular tiger, a female one, and he's just like, I must mate with Tiger. I must give her corpses to make her love me. And then you give her the animal corpses, and she doesn't give a fuck, but still just hangs with you anyway. And then some time goes by, and then the Black Tiger dies, but they had a kid, and then I think the kid grows up and becomes another Black Tiger, so that they could just reuse the same Black Tiger model, and then you kill more humans from the group of humans that you killed in the first place, meaning all the stuff the animals didn't matter. It's a weird fucking game. It is so bizarre, it's hilarious. If you've never heard of Life of Black Tiger, it is a perfect, like, you know, pop open a beer or some kind of alcoholic beverage and just go to town. It is amazing riffing material. Especially because the game is so glitchy and busted. Like, it has the similar vibes as Sonic Boom, where I spent a lot of the game just glitching it to oblivion. Apparently there's multiplayer in it, but I couldn't find anyone to do multiplayer anything with, which is annoying because I was running around as a chicken. Like, even though the select screen showed a flock of chickens, so I was like, oh, I can play as an entire flock of chickens, and then you just played as one chicken. And I was like, where the fuck are the rest of my chickens? So, yeah. Next up, Vroom in the Night Sky for the Nintendo Switch. Another game that I actually had to buy for the show. And you know what? I'm also sticking in A tier. I beat Vroom in the Night Sky. I 100%ed Vroom in the Night Sky, as a matter of fact. And it was a grueling grind to 100% the game. But I made sure that I would never have to revisit it It has elements of Superman 64 in it. That's all you need to know from a gameplay perspective. You are a magical girl who, I'm sorry, I'm gonna call them witches, because they have the witch, like some classic witch elements, but the game constantly refers to them as magical girls. So, fine, they're magical girls, whatever, who gives a shit? I'm gonna call them witches. Witches! And, yeah, it was not very good. But I was able to at least make some entertainment out of it, and stream chat was quality, as always. Stream chat was a very big help with Vroom and the Nice Guy. Alright, next up is Speed Zone for the Nintendo Wii. I'm actually gonna stick to 1D tier. It has a crap ton of views in comparison to pretty much everything else, maybe except for some of the old channel videos. I don't know how Speed Zone got recommended to people other than, I guess, the name was innocuous enough for it to actually be recommended to people. But yeah, the two like big cardinal sins with Speed Zone. Number one was the emulation. The game kept lagging, really, really bad. And, you know, really what I should have done was just bought a real copy, but I didn't give a shit, because it's some, like, whack-ass futuristic racing game. But number two, I was just not very, in my opinion, I wasn't very interesting, during that stream, you know. Evidently, I was wrong in that regard, due to the viewership. But, I didn't think I was very interesting, so... Yeah, Speed Zone, you know, you can have it. Y'all can have that one. I don't get it. I don't get it. Alright, Buzz Lightyear of Star Command for the Sega Dreamcast. I think I'm gonna put this in C tier because there are some elements of it that make it really hard to watch. Most notably, the sound. The game itself actually performed fine. But the sound! This is before I found a Dreamcast emulator that was pretty consistent with running games. What the hell happened with Buzz Lightyear? What happened with Buzz Lightyear? I will ensure that that never happens again. And some other games we're going to talk about. Yeah, that's like the big detractor for Buzz Lightyear. It's like, can't really watch one of the games going like weird ass sounds. It did leave some jokes from stream chat at least, but still. And then the game itself, it's kind of Crash Bandicoot-like, but also very like arcadey. And the big joke of the stream was the game has a medal system for when you beat certain levels. Except for the fact that there's some moments where the game gives you half medals. So multiple times the level would have a medal requirement, and I would look at my medals and have one half of a medal short. And I'd be like, just let me continue! Just let me play your game! I would have played a lot more of it had they just ditched the medal system and just made it a linear game. But no. Freaking Disney and whoever they got to actually develop it felt like being little bitches. And they did that to me. Stupid. Well, at least it was funny, so I'll give them that. Anyway, Instruments of Chaos, starring young Indiana Jones for the Sega Genesis. This game is also a very, 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 very frustrating game, and I did manage to get all the way to the end, obviously with save states, because there was no fucking way I was beating this game legitimately. I'm actually gonna give it the B. I was initially gonna give it a C, but I think for, like, the game has a very, like, trap-like design, you know? I got some good reactions out of, what was going on, in that game, and, you know, being able to play the whole thing certainly helped. But you know, Young Indiana Jones is one of those games where it's like, you know, it was kind of me trying to do a similar thing to Fantasia, but it didn't hit the same as Fantasia. Especially since I wasn't nearly as refreshed on Indiana Jones stuff as I was Fantasia. It helped with Fantasia that I had watched the movie a little bit before doing the video. Now, doing my research, but for some reason, I felt that I could just go into Young Indy with really no knowledge, and it didn't really work that well. So, yeah. But I'm still putting in B tier, but I think I was still decently enough, had decent enough entertainment value in there, but yeah, it did not hit nearly as well as some of the other games. Anyways, Death by Degrees for the PS2. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm entirely blaming the PS2 emulation for this one. What I should have done was gotten a real copy of the game. That's what I should have done. Death by Degrees is a game. It is the main channel equivalent to Billy Hatcher. There are people who actually do like Death by Degrees. My main snag with it was the controls, how you move Nina with the left stick and then you attack with the right analog stick in the hand-to-hand combat portions. That is still inexcusable. But I think like the sort of like Metal Gear-ish kind of vibe, you know, gathering stuff, you know, fighting, you know, new characters that, you know, just, it isn't just, oh, how many characters in the Tekken universe can we cram into this game? You know, like, I think Anna shows up, obviously, but I think there's, like, very seldom any, like, you know, Tekken mainstays in that game. I think it's just its own, like, self-contained kind of thing. It's very much the Mortal Kombat mythologies Sub-Zero to, of the matter. You know, except I think Death by Degrees is a better game than MK Mythologies. Even though MK Mythologies does have some, like, if it wasn't such a frustrating game, it would almost be so bad it's good. Like, MK Mythologies, I think I might actually wind up disqualifying for the show. Because, like, yeah, the gameplay is rough, but the cutscenes and some of just the unabashed trolliness of it kinda makes it not desirable to do as, like, I don't know. I think there's a Mortal Kombat game that is far more worthy of Marathon of Misery, but, you know, I'm gonna ignore that one for as long as I can. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, Death by Degrees. I probably should do a remake straight for that. Like, get a real copy. If I find a physical copy of the game, I'll consider doing a revisit of it. And maybe Billy Hatcher if I dig up my physical copy out of storage. So yeah. Transbot for the Sega Master System. Reminder, happy Pride Month. Anyway, I'm gonna give it a D tier. The game basically has no substance. It's a 2D shooter that has 2 levels in it, and one of them goes on endless loop unless you do something specific to go to the second level. And then you beat the second level, and then it gives you, like, a little, like, not even like a text blurb, just something happens, like, I think there's a boss fight, and then it just dumps you back to the first level for you to do it all over again. Like, it's just, you're meant to get points. Like, the whole goal is get a high score. You know, this episode really pushed the boundaries of, can I make a game that's effectively nothing into a stream? You know, and this is a stream that I'm going to be using to justify doing a stream for Season 3. So, yeah. Thanks, Transbot, for being, you know, transgressive in that regard. That's probably not the right word. It should be using progressive, but, you know, I also have transgressions with new games. So, Transbot still wins at the end of the day. Alright. Devil's Third. This was made by, this was Itagaki's vanity project after, I think after he left Koei Tecmo. And it failed so spectacularly hard that I don't know if Itagaki has worked on a game since. But yeah, I think Devil's Third, I think it limps its way into B tier. I didn't play very much of it. I had to do some weird-ass Wii U emulation stuff, so I was kind of worried about the game crashing on me. Because getting a physical copy of Devil's Third, fuck that. Fuck all that. Yeah. I mean, the game, I understand why some people like it. It almost has like a so bad it's good type of element to it. It's kind of like this weird hybrid of like a 3D like brawler and a third-person shooter, but it trying to do all those things at once kind of devalues everything, and it just comes kind of generic at that point. Like, it becomes a game where it's like, oh, you just try to get to cutscenes because the cutscenes are utterly ridiculous, but the levels themselves were really not that interesting, and eventually I just had to tap out. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. So yeah. I'll still give it a B tier though, just because the game itself, you know, at least carried me, and like, I didn't give up on it immediately. And it was a Christmas stream, you know, because I think that might have been the start, like, I think Transbot and Devil's Third might have been the start of the I play a game on Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. Well, actually, never mind. I might be wrong on that front. At least not entirely wrong. I know there's a game coming up that I also play on Christmas. But you don't know what I mean! Anyways. The Lord of the Rings Gollum for the PlayStation 5. My first PS5 game. For Marathon of Misery. My first, technically current generation game. Yeah, I'm gonna give it an A. I'm gonna give Gollum an A. Gollum is a deplorable video game. Deplorable. Do not play Gollum. Watch people play Gollum. It is a hilarious game to watch. It is utter agony to play. Like, playing Gollum, like, people who've actually beaten Gollum, God bless your soul. I don't know how you managed it. It's almost a so bad it's good. It's almost a so bad it's good. But the gameplay loop is so dull and boring. And after a while, it gets so fucking tedious. That's just like, I don't even care about the jank cutscenes anymore. And eventually, I think I just got to a pool of lava. I threw Gollum into it. And then I was just like, alright, stream's over. I'm not playing this anymore. And, like, I tried to do a drinking challenge for it. And, I got an alcohol that I hated. So I couldn't even do a drinking game for it to make it, like, funnier. But I still think, like, you know, I still think I did my best for the material that I was given. You know, someone literally called the game unreviewable. And when I saw that, I was like, alright, that's guaranteed. I changed around basically the entire second half of Season 2 to accommodate Gollum. By the way, the other lost episode was Gremlins 2. Yeah, remember that? Remember that old diatribe, Hercules, Mad Dog 2? I mean, Gremlins 2 was the other lost episode. Yeah. Like, whenever someone tells me that a game is impossible to review, you bet that I'm gonna put it on my show! You bet I'm gonna do it! But yeah. Spider-Man Battle for New York. I I'm actually... You know what? I actually think Spider-Man gets an 18. I think I beat the whole game. Number one, I beat the whole thing. I beat it legitimately. I'm pretty sure I don't even think I used save states. I think I beat the game for real. And it was just this weird experience to play a Spider-Man game that, like, not many people talk about. No one really cares about. It's this weird, like, it shows like this weird, like, extension of like the comic book universe. You know, it has no connection to the movies, no connection to a cartoon show. It's just connected to the comic books. And even still, like, it's so uninteresting that it's like, I don't care about this. And yet, I still managed to sit there and beat the whole game anyway. You play as both Spider-Man and the Green Goblin for certain levels. Like, you trade off between the two. And the Spider-Man levels, you know, were tolerable. You know, not good, but after a while I was like, you know, if they would have just made this only about Spider-Man, I think it would have been fine. The Green Goblin levels suck ass. The Green Goblin levels are so fucking bad that they drove me insane. They drove me to absolute insanity playing the fucking game. And even to the point where Stream Chat was like, bro, this isn't worth it. And I was like, no! I'm gonna get through this! And then I eventually beat it, and I don't feel good about it. Also, I kept saying the game was released in like 2003 over and over and over throughout that video, like 2002. I thought it was coinciding with one of the movies. The game came out in 2006! It came out 1 year before Spider-Man 3 did. What the fuck? Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm not... Wow, these later Misery streams. Okay, now wow. Terminator 2 for the Commodore Amiga. The first Amiga game. There are a select handful of individuals that know exactly how I feel about Terminator 2. Y'all can go fuck yourselves for this one screen grab. All these screen grabs are like the title screen or like the poster art or whatever. I had to put this image in specifically just for you, just for the two people that kept annoying me about it. There you go. That's the legacy of that stream. Frickin' slide puzzle. The stupid Arnold Schwarzenegger slide puzzle. And this is the good version of the slide puzzle. I shouldn't say good because it's still a slide puzzle. A timed slide puzzle. But at least this one with enough trial and error, I think I could probably beat. The one in the actual game was nigh on fucking impossible. I still don't know how I'd be able to beat that slide puzzle. Even if I put an infinite time code on it, I don't think I'd be able to beat it 100%. And you need to get a good rating on the slide puzzle so that you get enough of your health back. I'm not going through that whole diatribe again. The point is, Terminator 2 on the Amiga, really, really bad game. But... God damn it. I didn't think I'd put it that high, but there's no real, like, dull part in there. Honestly, like, some of these other streams, like, I like stuff like Life of Black Tiger, Room in the Night Sky, and, like, Gollum. But there's always, like, some parts where it's like, okay, I'm gonna skip ahead to a part that's fine. Terminator 2, I don't think you can really skip any of it. Like, it's just a total train wreck from start to finish, and it pisses me off the entire time. And Stream Chat wasn't helping me at all. They were being really entertaining, you know, for anyone that wasn't there for the stream. But my God, were you guys not helping me at all? You claimed to be helping. You were not helping. No, you weren't. You are a bunch of liars. That was like the closest I got to having like a Maximilian like fuck my stream chat moment. Just pissing me off, chat. I've had enough to hear with you. Alright, Superman 64. Sad to say it, but I think Superman 64 was just an average stream. This one I did in Christmas of 2024? Yeah, because I think Devil's Third... No, I think Devil's Third and Transbot were 2023. So then Superman 64 was the Christmas thing for 2024. I did not... Well, actually, I think I'm wrong. No, I'm wrong. No. Transbot and Devil's Third were Christmas of 2022. And then 2023 was not a very productive year for me for reasons that are too personal for me to delve into right now. But yeah, Superman 64 was the Christmas episode for 2023. And yeah, 2023 was not a very productive year for me. But yeah, Superman 64 is the reason I have a physical N64. You know, I have to thank it for making me buy an actual console. But it doesn't save it from the game sucking absolute balls. And I thought it was going to be sort of on the caliber of like Sonic Boom or Gollum or Life of Black Tiger, where it was going to be like such this giant, you know, train wreck that I would be able to just laugh along with it. It really wasn't. You know, I had to use a level select code just to get to like levels 3 and 4, and by that point I was just like, alright, I have none of this shit. Even though I could have turned the game down to easy mode and probably could have gotten to the point where the game says you have to play in normal mode, but then if you just do a thing, or I think like if you like just there's a way to like trick the game into advancing you in levels even if you're on easy mode, so like without using the level select. But yeah, Superman 64 was just kind of an average stream, to be honest. So yeah. Alright, Space Jam: A New Legacy. I don't know if I did this towards the the tail end of 2023. I'm turning into Taz. How appropriate. I don't know if that was at the end of 2023 or at the start of 2024. I forget when. But yeah, Space Jam. I'm actually gonna rank as an A tier. Yeah. Space Jam. Space Jam was not... I thought it was gonna be... When I played the game the first time, I thought... I blew it over and I was like, oh my god, is the game really that easy? Did I waste my time with this? Is it gonna be Transbot all over again? And then it unlocked Boss Rush and Hard Mode. And I was like, okay. I'll 100% it. Just like Room in the Night Sky. Try to make some more material out of it. And then that Boss Rush mode happened. And then, yeah. That Boss Rush mode is why I put the stream in A tier. And you know what? Both that and Terminator 2, both of these actually got separate entries for the thing that really annoyed me the most. Terminator 2 being the fucking slide puzzle, and Space Jam being 100%ing it. The act of 100%ing Space Jam fucked me off so much I gave it a separate rating. So, yeah. Talk about turning nothing into something, huh? Yeah. Pepsi Man! I think Pepsi Man was... I think people had actually requested me to do Pepsi Man either on stream or in comments. I forget when. But I know people had wanted me to do Pepsi Man for a little while. And can I tell you that Pepsi Man... I didn't like it very much. But, despite me not liking the game very much, the stream is one of the best Misery streams ever done. Not only did I, you know, I did need to use save states on the last level, but I did beat Pepsi Man. I did also beat Space Jam. For the record, I did beat Space Jam. Not Superman 64 though. I didn't do that. But yeah, also I beat Terminator 2 and Spider-Man. I think I already said Spider-Man. I also did beat Terminator 2. I think I did need save states for Terminator 2, but oh fucking well. Yeah, Pepsi Man, for the most part, I beat legit up until, like, that last, like, string of levels, where I was just like, I don't want to go back to the stupid Pepsi City level. Not only was, like, I had some pretty decent comedy going, the stream chat was pretty good. I also did something extra for Pepsi Man, where I did a, drinking challenge. Not an alcoholic drinking challenge, but rather a, pilk challenge. Well, actually, no, there was alcohol there. The hook for that stream was like, what can I do to make this stream more interesting other than me just playing Pepsi Man? Oh, what if I get a 2-liter of Pepsi and a half gallon of milk and make to where every time I die, I take a sip of Pilk? Which, if you don't know what Pilk is, don't worry about it. Don't do it. Don't make it. And then, if I beat a level in Pepsi Man, I would take a sip of a good drink. In that case, I chose like an alcoholic strawberry lemonade or something. Anyhow, needless to say, I drank a lot of Pilk that day. And, I think I wound up even finishing the 2-liter of Pepsi. Like, after I ran out, I think I ran out of milk to mix with. And then I still had some Pepsi left over, so I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna finish the Pepsi. Yeah, that stream nearly killed me. You know, I don't know. I think I've already repressed the memory of what happened to my body after that stream. But it was some quality entertainment, man. Pepsi Man. Yeah, that was something else. Alright. Transformers, Dark of the Moon. Interestingly enough, this and the Zathura image, those are actually just the movie posters. Because I couldn't find any decent enough images of the actual game art, so I was just like, fuck it. Let's just use the movie posters. So, yeah. Especially because in the case of Transformers, technically I had to play the game twice. And the stream, I think I'll put it in B tier. I think it's pretty good. Not as good as the A or S is, but Dark of the Moon is like right up there. I think the main problem with it is that the stream went on for like 5 hours, and that's because I had to play, again, 2 whole games, because for whatever reason, Activision decided for the, like, Michael Bay tie-in Transformers games to split the campaigns for the Autobots and the Decepticons onto 2 separate cartridges. I'm sorry, that's a scam. You can't do that. You can put both of the campaigns on one cart, you cowards. Don't tell me it's physically impossible, because it isn't. Because you can totally put both of those games on the same thing. Fucking, they were able to get Chrono Trigger on the DS. Quality of that port notwithstanding. You know, they were able to get fucking, they were able to get Guilty Gear on the DS. What's your excuse? Activision, what's your excuse? None. Absolutely nothing. So yeah, still decent stream though. I will say that. Alright, the Uncanny X-Men for the NES. You know what? Yeah. I would say so. Not only was this the first Misery stream where I had my lovely, amazing boyfriend, Dan, a part of it. Dan, I love you, and you were an absolute trooper for playing as much of this game as you did. I also beat the game with the help of save states, but you know, that's mostly just because I was getting frustrated with the game. And X-Men on the NES is one of the most incomprehensibly bad games I've ever played in my life. Like, it's a complete mindfuck. Like, if I played it again, I probably could remember how to do everything, but I'm pretty sure I've already repressed a lot. Like, I just don't want to think about this game. This is a game where it's like, I try to think about it, and I'm just like, I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to think about X-Men on NES. I just want to move on with my life, okay? I've got better things to think about than some fucking X-Men. But still, I think that stream was, you know, it did drag a bit too long, but a lot of that was just me being bad. And, you know, me and Dan and the stream chat were being entertaining. And I mean, it did also really help. It did help to have a emotional support right there within arm's reach. He was actually here, like, in person. That was the first time I had an in-person guest for a Misery episode. I mean, unless you want to count my late mother in the Irritating Stick episode, because she shows up for like a half hour at the or probably not that long, but she shows up for a decent portion of the end of the Irritating Stick stream, and you know, God rest her soul. But X-Men was like the first true, like, you know, I planned it out to have Dan here, so. Yeah, anyway. Universal Theme Park Adventure. Universal Theme Adventure. For the GameCube. I hate that the GameCube got some really, really bad fucking games on it. I really don't like it. But yeah, Universal Theme Park Adventure. I like how how this set of episodes has encompassed, like, some of the big, studios. Got your Disney, your Warner Brothers, and now we got Universal. How we manage this? And MTV! Even MTV snuck its way in there. Yeah, Universal Theme Park Adventure. I'll give this... I think I'll also give this a B tier. I think it just barely misses out on being A, only because there's some parts where I'm just like, whatever. You know, I got rather frustrated with it. I beat it through the use of save states because, you know, I was trying to make sure that I got stamps for the games, and, you know, I didn't think about just playing the game and giving you a stamp and, you know, like, needing to fulfill a set of requirements and all that shit. Even though I'm pretty sure I failed at Backdraft and it still gave me the stamp for Backdraft anyway, so I don't get what the fuck happened there. Yeah, a really bad game that, you know, I tried to make some decent entertainment out of it. You know what? Nah. I'm actually putting it in A. I'm actually putting it in A, because I'm remembering, like, us roasting the logic of the Jurassic Park minigame. Me beating E.T. really easily, despite the fact that E.T. I think had the most trepidation going into. A random slide puzzle showing up out of nowhere and me beating it really fast. You know, sort of vindicating what happened with Terminator 2. The freaking running up, the excitement over picking up trash. Like, stream chat was a really big help for that stream. Like, stream chat was really, really good. Alright, Trigger Man for the Xbox. Yeah, this one I don't think is very good. I barely played any of the game, and, you know what, no. I think the first half of Trigger Man is good. The second half, is just me bitching and moaning about a section I couldn't beat. It's that, like, shootout section like where you're like trying to escape the villa and you just shut the fuck up, phone. Uh, like you're trying to get out of this villa, and I just kept getting killed over and over and over and over again, and like it's just like generic mob story. Like it's not very interesting. It's just it's there. Like Triggerman is a game that's just kind of there. So yeah. I'm gonna throw my phone down a flight of stairs, and my house doesn't even have a flight of stairs in it! Oh my god! Next up, Darkwing Duck for the TurboGrafx 16. I didn't think this stream would rank very high, but I'm actually gonna give it a B tier. Yeah. But yeah, we got the trifecta in the season, because we have a Disney, a Warner Brothers, and a Universal. But yeah, Darkwing Duck, very not good game for the TurboGrafx, you know. It could have been... They probably could have made a decent game if Turbo Technologies Incorporated or whatever actually tried. They didn't. I still, to this day, cannot get over the fact that in order to get certain power-ups, you have to jump, hold the jump button, and then jump off of collectibles. What was that about? What was that about? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Just that and the level design and the game mechanics and everything and stream chat and, you know, like, I didn't think it was very good when I ended it, and I, again, beat it through the use of save states, but at least I was able to see all of it, and stream chat was pretty entertaining throughout it, and, you know, it's finally good to have some closure with the oddity that was that game, because for the longest, I didn't know what the fuck, like, I'd barely seen anything of that game, so being able to see all of it was just like, huh. Well, that happened. But yeah. Next up is Frankenstein for the Commodore 64. I think this was my first C64 game for the, for Marathon of Misery. And yeah, Frankenstein, I'm actually gonna rate, I think A is a good spot for Frankenstein, because it is a weird, obscure game that not very many people talk about. And of all the games, like, it is a 2D platformer, which there's a lot of 2D platformers on the Commodore, but the whole game is fetch quest. That's the whole thing. Dr. Frankenstein asks Igor to run around grabbing different shit. He wants you to grab him bodies. Then he wants you to grab him a scroll or something. And then he wants you to grab an antenna, and then he wants you to grab this other thing, and just grabbing specific organs and shit. It's like, the whole game is one giant fetch quest, where you're running around not only Frankenstein's castle, but then, like, the streets of, like, Germany, I guess, or somewhere else. You know, the whole game is you trying to create the monster, basically. And the whole time I'm just looking at it like, how the fuck do you get a game about Frankenstein wrong? Like, how do you... Well, number one, you make the main character Igor, but then number two, Igor controls like a little fucking hunk of shit. He controls so awkwardly, you know, again, this is a C64 game, so I think the whole thing is wrapped around the joystick. I don't even think the game used the fire button. There's one button! Why don't you use it? Use it for a jump! Something, anything, an attack! Just something! You know, the townspeople in fucking... There's one person that heals you. And it's like all the way across the map. And everything else either does nothing to you or just straight up kills you. And then there's the worst mechanic of the game, which is the killer monkey. There's a monkey that shows up in the castle that just stands there. And in freak instances, depending on where you go on the map, if you go the wrong way, you will spawn inside of the killer monkey. And if that happens, it's game over. You will lose all your lives just immediately. You have to do the whole game all over again. There's no continues. You get a couple lives, and that's it. And somehow, some way, throughout all the bullshit, I actually managed to beat this game. And there's a time limit, a concurrent time limit throughout the whole game. So you can't afford to waste any time. I have no idea how I managed to beat Frankenstein. Just full out. I don't know how I managed to beat the game. I just don't know. I don't know how I managed to beat it. But, yeah. Still, pretty decent stream. Stream chat was once again entertaining. And, yeah, just what a weird oddity for the Commodore 64. That's why I like playing the super obscure games. Just like, what the fuck is happening, man? What is this game? What is this garbage that just exists? And that's what I like to do sometimes. But yeah, and this is the Kickstarter for the Halloween-a-thon, where I played one Halloween-themed misery game a day for the week, with one exception, but, I'll talk about that as we go through the episodes. Dracula for the Sega Game Gear. Originally it was going to be the Game Boy version, but then I switched to the Game Gear. Because I don't think I did a Sega Game Gear game up until that point. So, yeah, this was the first game for the Sega Game Gear. And, I'm gonna put Dracula... I'm gonna put Dracula in B tier. I'm gonna be nice to Dracula. Dracula was not bad. I think it was a little, just ever so slightly above average. It's not like a Transformers Dark of the Moon or a Ninja Breadman where it almost gets into A tier. The Dracula is, or even like Darkwing Duck. Dracula is like a Cyber Tiger or a Devil's Third, where it barely escapes C tier. The stream chat. I think the stream chat carried Dracula. I think if it was just me on my own, I think I probably wouldn't have had that much to go off of. But the stream chat, came through for me with that game, and we had some pretty good laughs regarding Dracula. But yeah, it was not a good game. It confused the fuck out of me. I couldn't beat it. I was back to not being able to beat games. And, yeah. Dracula, man. Alright. The Crow City of Angels for the Sega Saturn. A lot of Sega games. I have played my fair share of Sega games. I'm not even gonna beat around the bush on this one. This stream was an abject failure. Not only did I not make it very far in the game, I think I had to use passwords for the second or third level. But that stream, you could hear as it went on, I was losing my voice steadily throughout the stream. I basically got sick during that stream. It was almost as if I was going to die, and then a crow would come in and and then some weird thing would happen, and then I would just rise back up from the dead like a certain character from a movie called The Crow. Yeah. And not only that, just I didn't really have anything to add about the game. And to be honest, I probably should have, if it wasn't for the console rule, I probably would have played the PS1 version and it would have ran better. I think the Saturn version had some technical fuck-ups. But, Saturn emulation's a bitch. So, I tried. I tried with The Crow, and really it's one of those games where it's just you look at it for 5 minutes, it's yeah, I know why this game sucks. Next. Like, there wasn't really any debate there. Alright, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I actually had to do the stream twice. The first time it was supposed to be on Halloween Day. But then, for some reason, well, not only was I still sick, trying to contend with being sick, but then I also had the stream die. And it wasn't like Virtual Highlight where it died and I was like, okay, I got enough material out of this, I'm good. It died like less than 15 minutes into the stream. So at that point, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't even care anymore about Buffy. Just whatever. I don't care anymore. And then I came back to it at a later date after I had gotten like rested up and, figured out my whole streaming situation and all that. And then I did manage to beat the game. I forget if I had to use save states or not. The redone version of Buffy, I think is a B tier, but I think it's on the higher end of B tier. I'm not quite confident enough to give it an A tier, but Buffy certainly was not. The second attempt was certainly not a bad stream. It was not a bad stream. Alright. We're at the final 5. The final 5 episodes. Starting with Duke Nukem Forever. A very divisive game. Some people really like it, some people really don't like it. I think Duke Nukem Forever gets a C tier as a stream. I think it's only okay. I played as much as I could stomach out of it. The only parts I can remember is like that weird part where Duke gets shrunk and then he has to drive the RC car. The stupid elevator part where he has to, pull the lever and, because it's a first-person game, you're supposed to look at it and be like, oh, he's jacking off! Because the game is very lowbrow humor. Me gulping down liters upon liters of water from the drinking fountains at the beginning of the game for no reason. Yeah, just, I did play off this game's comedy a little bit, but it's like, I can't really, it's not a game that was, so bad that it gave me, really good material to work off of. It's just kind of, I think it's just a very mediocre game. Except for the fact that, again, it took, 20 fucking years to release. It took forever to come out, literally. But, I didn't, viscerally hate the game, but it was enough for me to be like, yeah, I don't want to play this anymore. So, yeah. Pac-Man 2, The New Adventures. Pac-Man 2. I'm actually putting this in B tier. I thought about giving this a lower rank, but the more I think about it, I was, not only did I get further in the game than I thought I would, I don't think I beat Pac-Man. After Buffy, I have yet to beat a game since Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and even then, I think I beat Buffy illegitimately, so I don't even think I beat that game legit, so it's like, what was the last one, Frankenstein? Shit. I had such a good record, and then I just kind of fell off playing these games. But yeah, Pac-Man 2 for the Super Nintendo. It's also become a very divisive game. Some people think it's actually a hidden masterpiece of game design, where it's you have to play the game in a very different manner. I think it's just obtuse for the sake of being obtuse. It's not a fun game. Pac-Man 2, you can learn it after a while, but after a while it's just not. It's not a game worth torturing yourself with. But at least I got some entertainment. At least I was able to be entertaining out of it, admittedly. It wasn't the worst in that respect. Yeah. Next up is Mario's Game Gallery for MS-DOS. I think it's the exact opposite. I think it's the exact opposite of Buffy. I think Mario's Game Gallery barely gets into B tier. Barely, by the skin of its teeth. It is 5 mini games which are like traditional, like more traditional games. You got like chess and checkers and backgammon and Go Fish and Yahtzee in there. And I think I don't know, I think I might have been able to beat Mario in just about every game after like an hour or two of banging my head against the wall. It's another one of those games where I'm actually surprised with the lack of content in the game actually being able to make a stream of it. Like this and Transbot are two games that make me reconsider my barely a video game rule. Because it's like, yeah, even if it's barely a game, like, you can still get some kind of entertainment out of it if you just play it enough. So, yeah. Mario's Game Gallery. I had to think about it for a minute, but I'm like, yeah, no, this one wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. And again, once again, stream chat really helps. I just want to tell you that right now. Stream chat is such a big help when it comes to doing these episodes. Having that community aspect and having people look at it and be like, what is this trash on my screen that I'm looking at? Why are you doing this to yourself? Can I talk to you about something else? Just take your mind off it? And I'm like, yes, please. So, yeah. You guys are an absolute blessing. Anyways, something that's not a blessing is Sonic 06. This is a game that invariably I might wind up revisiting one day. Because the original stream was very much AC tier. I did not even beat the Sonic campaign. That was the... Mario's Game Gallery was the Christmas Eve episode of 2024. And then Sonic 06 was the Christmas Day episode. And I thought Sonic 06 was going to be an all-day affair, and I would beat all the campaigns, and beat the whole thing, and the whole revelation would be like, I think it's a so bad it's good game. And then I got reminded why it's not a so bad it's good game. You know, on top of that, I had only ever played the 360 version of Sonic 06. This was the first time me playing the PS3 version of Sonic 06. And the game is much worse on PS3. It runs much worse on PS3. It is a fucking slog. And yeah, I literally couldn't even beat Sonic's campaign. I don't even think I think I got to Kingdom Valley and then gave up. I think I gave up at Kingdom Valley. I think that was the point where I was just like, forget it, I'm not playing this anymore. I think I might have done the try, like, either I got to Kingdom Valley and then just didn't play Kingdom Valley, or I tried Kingdom Valley, game over, and then I was just like, fuck it, I'm not playing this anymore. So, I mean, if there's enough kickback for it, you know, I might run some polls about some, like, Misery Revisited I should do out of the games I said I would remake. I feel like if I did that, I think Sonic 06 would be the winner there, because it's like, there's so much of Sonic 06 I didn't even see. Can you believe that Sonic campaign is probably the best of the four? No? Yeah. Anyways, the final stream so far, the final episode of Marathon of Misery, I haven't canceled the show, but the Season 2 finale, Zelda Wand of Gamelon. I don't know if I did it before 2024 ended or if I did it into 2025. But as much as it hurts to do this, I think I'm going to put Wand of Gamelon at a D tier. And here's my reason why. The sound emulation was completely fucked up. I don't know what happened, but it did this weird skipping thing that did not happen during Wacky Golf. That did not happen. So I don't know why it did it during Wand of Gamelon. But for whatever reason, the sound got super screwed up. And because of that, it makes the stream really hard to watch. Although I was able to have some comedy out of it. And I think I got sick again! Either before or during, or either before or after that episode, I got sick again. Like, the end of, like, the middle to end of 2024, I got sick so many times that I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Why is this happening? But yeah, fortunately through 2025, I did not get sick nearly as much. I have not gotten, like, really sick yet. You know, I've had some, like, allergies and all that, but, you know, in terms of being so sick that I don't even want to get out of bed, that hasn't really happened. So, Yeah. Anyways, after almost 2 hours of deliberation, we have our final list. This is the final tier list for the Misery games. Look at that. Yeah. We have our illustrious, S tier 6 games managed to make it up here. I didn't think there'd be any up here, to be honest, but looking back, these are the 6 Misery streams where it's like, if you want to get the gist of the show, you know, watch these. And I like how it's from each era of Misery. I like that an old channel game showed up there. 2 from Season 1, and then 3 from Season 2. I really like that. Like how that happened. And then, A tier, are all streams that I look back on and say, yeah, I'm glad I did that. B tier, you know, they certainly tried. They tried. C tier, you know, could have been better, but you know, they're not exactly bad. D tier, they're not that great, but a lot of it is just due to accentuating circumstances a lot of the time, and you know, not as much, you know, just the, like, you know, there's some outside force that kind of drags them down. And then the F tier are streams that just went catastrophically wrong. Well, these 2 weren't streams, but, you know. This is a game I should not have picked on, and this was just really, really boring. I think of the like, if I had to pick an absolute best, of the S tiers, it probably would either be Wacky Golf or Pepsi Man. I think those are the 2, like, best streams I've done. Maybe X-Men, but again, I did say that, like, the only criticism I have against X-Men is that it drags on a bit too long. I think Wacky Golf and Pepsi Man are, like, the perfect lengths for a Misery stream. And then of the worst of the worst, I think it goes to AX101 just because it was boring. Like, it was just so dull that it wasn't worth watching. That's just not worth watching. At least with, you know, Billy Hatcher and Death by Degrees, you can argue with me and be like, those games are not bad. And then The Crow, you can laugh at the game itself. You know, but AX101 just, man, that I'm gonna hold the L on that one. But, yeah, there you go. What a list here. The only thing I could think of that would have more entries for a tier list is, Fighting Game Freakout. If I do Fighting Game Freakout, I'm gonna have to just do main channel only. I don't think I would be able to do old channel plus main channel, because if I did that, we would be here for 3 fucking hours doing Fighting Game Freakout. That, or I would do that as a live stream. I think I would do Fighting Game Freakout, the Fighting Game Freakout tier list as a live stream. I don't think I would do it this style again, because, you know, unless it was something considerably shorter, because, oh my god, do these take a while. And I can't cut anything! With this one, I can't cut anything! So, fuck! Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. You know, what a time to just reminisce on old content. And, you know, maybe, just maybe, the next time I do a tier list, it might not be a total exercise in narcissism. For once. Anyways, with everything said and done, I have been Reaper Vegas, and I will see you all next time.